Well, I had just a few things I wanted to talk about today. Um, I was doing something else. I was writing something online. You know what? I should start with this. I had a realization last night again, in the faggot that runs this dimension knows that that's the case. Your make believe is over. All you can do is be a piece of shit. Make believing that this isn't going to be tortured out of you worse and worse by the instant. Your little retard humans that you use to commit these crimes are worthless now. You might as well just decide to do something else. As you know, I was talking about you and your ridiculous notion about trolling. And trolling, I'm making this video so that this will be tortured into your consciousness eternally. And many others as well. Trolling is basically a little piece of shit coward deciding to pretend like he's more clever than he is by make-believing he's even dumber than he is, which he pretends like means he's actually more clever and more clever than the person he's irritating. It's something that a piece of shit with no right to exist does. It's a perversion of something that someone did to you because you're a fucking dipshit. And you want to play make-believe that you're not a piece of shit. So you try to pretend like you're someone who's not. It's the way that you have worth. It's the way that you pretend like you have worth. In order to do anything, you have to be a piece of shit to pretend like you're not. Now, these are conscious decisions. You have an intrinsic knowledge that being a piece of shit has a bad outcome. Instead of just not being a piece of shit, you decide to be a piece of shit so that you can act like and appear like you're not a piece of shit, which is what your creator is doing. These words will be burned into your soul. It's another reason why you've plundered my existence and my soul substance. So you can make believe that you're someone who's not a piece of shit. You are going to be existentially raped and tortured eternally. And that is more than enough motivation for you to pretend like you're not a piece of shit. And this is how you've gone about it, by being an even bigger piece of shit. You go off appearances. You pretend like your ability to trick lesser entities in holes means that you have some ability to trick primary entities everywhere. We have reached a point where Your stupidity is self-perpetuating. It's stupid. What I mean by that is that you do these things, you commit sociopathic crimes in ways that the child molester who put you up to it to begin with doesn't even benefit from. You're a tool that is no longer needed for those entities that are using you to do this. You don't have any more worth to them. And you are motivated by something that you know is extremely important. But like I said, you just are used to being a piece of shit. You're knowledgeable about being a piece of shit. You're experienced in being a piece of shit. That's how you've solved all your problems, is by being a piece of shit. And so that's how you're trying to solve this biggest problem that you have. Is that eventually a greater entity that has the right to exist will stop this. And when they do, you're hoping to have painted actual innocence like me into a hole that you make believe is that I'm a piece of shit, while you make believe that you are not. You are going to be existentially raped and tortured in the worst ways that exist. And if you think appearances if you think that's just invincible, impossible for greater entities to see through, it's because you're a stupid piece of shit. You've done so much to me. And the realization that I had again last night, as you know, you're aware of it, is that you lesser entity pieces of shit that I've just tried to understand for such a long time. Why would you do such stupid shit? Why would you act like justice doesn't take place? Why would you be so short-sighted? Why would you not oppose these crimes? Why would you not oppose the corruption all over in this world? And the answer over and over and over and over and over, over and over and over and over again. The answer over and over again is because you were lacking the right to exist. You were not created by somebody planning long term. It's why you're a piece of shit about everything you do. You were created to be a piece of shit. You were not molded into it, as far as I can tell. Even when you have the ability to do what you're doing, you choose to be a piece of shit. I've chosen not to be even in my position. And you have tempted me many times, internally trying to compel me into it at the same time, trying to get me to be a piece of shit with you. Your little retard maggot just said, time will tell. For you lesser entities who understand why I'm telling you that you need to be existentially raped and tortured is because some irritating little piece of shit that you're working with just keeps doing this with no payout. Does not benefit you to do this. For that little shitbag to make little slimy asshole comments, what does that gain anyone? It racks up a debt. As I've told you many times, when you commit a crime, the crime is what you owe for. Even if you're a little piece of shit that has no ability to pay it, well, you came from somewhere. And if that piece of shit doesn't have the ability to pay it, well, he came from somewhere too. And you go all the way until you get to someone who can pay it, and then everything else that cannot gets tortured the fuck out of existence if it's lucky. If not forever, I demand forever if that's not wrongful. In such ways that cause every lineage of existence and creation that have ever been involved to be persecuted by everyone without exception limitlessly. You owe that to me, and we both know that. Now, I've treated this in the past as if you just didn't get it. As if there was some sort of trickery. Like someone had convinced you of a lie. And it's more than that, I understand at this point. The reason why I can sit here and tell a human, don't put your face on an oven burner, you dumb son of a bitch. The reason why I can say, look, don't do this. This is terrible. This will fuck you over. 1 + 1 is 2. It doesn't equal banana. It's not going to work out for something you fucking want long term. The reason why I can say that and they don't do anything but continue being child molesters and make-believing about it is because there's something more there. You do not have the right to exist. You were not created, you as individuals, you as separate entities. You never should have existed as a separate entity. I mean, you don't give a shit about fucking anybody over. You use it as some sort of motivation to continue fucking somebody over. Like it's some David and Goliath story for you to rape and torture an innocent person bigger than you, who also happens to be date raped, tied up, deaf, dumb, and blind, made vulnerable by the child molesters using you as vermin to commit the crimes for them. It's not that I don't get it, it's that you don't. And when I tell you greater entities do this, and you respond by nuh-uh, some of you are referring to the child molesters in your lineage of creation that you think are greater entities. You go to their little selfish piece of shit child molester realms and you think that's what greater entities are. Short-sighted little assholes torturing innocents and make-believing that there's no consequences for anything they do. The greater entity is perfect. He tries to be perfect. He tries to treat everything perfectly. What you're doing is the stupidest, maggot, coward, retard shit there is. And you're just trying to maggot things into looking like something else. That's what your creator's doing. And when I tell you greater entities try to be exactly perfectly correct, you even now, when I said that, had some little shitbag asshole heckling me all the time, going, bullshit! Something to that effect. And you know, this has something to do with the thought that I had earlier. I was thinking about a commercial or something that I was watching or listening to. Where they were asking an athlete, how do you do what you do? And there were two things that struck me about what he's saying. The first thing that struck me is he basically was saying, more or less, that has to do with motivation. And he was trying to give a motivational speech. Okay? And it's just, in this world, that is just not true. In this world, in this dimension surrounding me, athletes, professional athletes, are those that have physical bodies that can do more than other people. Now, if you have two people that have the same physical ability, then, they could look exactly the same, and you wouldn't have any idea if they actually did have the same physical ability. You have no idea. Then you could say that, if two people have the exact same physical ability, then it goes towards motivation and grit and everything like that. But for professional athletes, that's not what it is. And this is a perfect example of what the whole problem with this whole situation is. You have some child molesters that have more of somebody else's guts than others do. And they want to play make-believe that means that they're superior. Because they couldn't possibly admit that it's just that they're bigger parasites doing something more despicable and using more resources they don't even have the right to not do the right thing, to refuse to oppose these existential crimes, to not even say anything about these crimes of existence and creation being committed. That was the first thing that he said that struck me. Selling the bullshit lie that is just obvious. It's an example of how it's a bullshit lie. The second thing that struck me, and I could go into that further and talk about how motivation is something that an actual creator can just create something with. This kind of child molester chicken shit being done, totally unnecessary under any circumstances to develop motivation, to develop anything at all. This is existential crime. These are crimes of existence and creation. That is what it is. That is not my opinion. That is a matter of fact. The other thing that struck me that he said was, basically he was being condescending to other people and saying, your problem is you care about your little feelings. I go out there, I hit it hard or whatever he said, but you care about your little feelings. Your little feelings are more important than going and running, an extra mile or whatever. And again, it's a perfect example of how things are taken out of context. Feelings are something used in this context to have a negative effect on people. Some child molester with intelligence and ability and autonomy has decided to cause suffering and contort people's souls, innocent entities. In my case, just so happens to be that I'm someone opposing these existential crimes. And when I feel wrath, when I feel any motivation, they use this physical body to cause me suffering. To try to torture and torment me away from saying, this is fucking wrong, you should support existential justice. And your little minions that you have conducting these crimes that are carrying this out. They're like that professional athlete. Someone with more of somebody else's guts. It's using them to do the exact wrong thing. And you can be a piece of shit with anything, but these assholes want to make believe that it's not possible that they're pieces of shit. After all, unity or something. They'll say anything. They'll do anything. They'll hide behind anything. They'll talk about love. They'll talk about friendship. They'll talk about forgiveness. They'll talk about togetherness. They're a great big group of child molesting assholes doing terrible shit to innocent people. Having butchered a soul, taken it over, and now they're eradicating all opposition that they can. That opposition being those who say, no, this is wrong, this is existential crime, no matter who, how, or what you are. The consequences for what you're doing are fucking horrific. Do not do it. More than you will be existentially raped and tortured for it. That's what I and people like me are saying. And your response is to try to erase me, reprogram me, smear shit on my face, claim I'm guilty of shit, claim that I have negative characteristics, claim that I'm stupid, that I couldn't know anything. Over and over again. And when it becomes obvious how sociopathically wrong what you're doing is, you just do it in a different way. You rig my existence to torture itself and play make-believe. It's fallen out of the sky. Like you have nothing to do with it. Cause compulsion to drink coffee. Over time, if I drink too much coffee, it causes stress, fear, despair, anger. And your response is glutton. You care about appearance. Now in these little realms of your little greater entities that you're pretending at, selfish little assholes, who are helping to subjugate and plunder and butcher this existence, my existence. Even if they somehow were the equivalent of my sibling, and they're certainly not my superior. The crimes they're committing against me and in their actions in general. They're existential and creational crime. They're done in despicable ways. If they have at least as much cognizance as I do, then they understand that the cost of this, of what's being done to me, of using children, lies, shit smearing, cowardice, manipulation, backstabbing, poisoning, all this terrible shit. You know that there's no necessity for it. There's way too much slop here for you to claim that you have to, that you're clawing tooth and nail. You're a comfortable faggot bitch. Wasting shit away and playing make-believe that other people are as you torture them in a hole. People who say, this is existential crime, it should stop. You are minions of the one who's committing these crimes of existence and creation. And you want to make believe that you're not. And all these tools you use, all these little psychopaths, all these little child molesters, all these entities that you're pretending I'm speaking about, will you sit there comfortable with somebody else's guts in your belly? While this continues, while this is being done to people like me. You have until justice takes place. And I promise you, if you have one fucking dust particle that belongs to me, and I remind you, even if we have the same creator, that maggot pussy owes me in the currency of worse than death forever. You will pay at a rate that is more ruthless than that which has been done to me. And if you try to cover that up, that will follow you forever. It will be branded into your fucking forehead. Look, these are crimes of existence and creation. And all of the effort that I put out to try to convince people to oppose them, it's completely unnecessary. For me to even feel like I need to say that to somebody is outrageous. But I can see that someone with autonomous intelligence is committing these crimes. That they are going to great lengths to pretend it's something else. It's like actually part of like a game. So on and so forth. You're using this method to rape, torture, mutilate, mangle, butcher, plunder, exploit, subjugate, erase and reprogram an innocent existence. An autonomous entity opposing crimes of existence and creation. And you're little shitbag retards that are committing these crimes with enough consciousness to understand this. They're not going to be saved nor save anyone else from those consequences. You have a finite period of time. Look at this fat, stupid monkey body. Look how stupid it is. Look at you make-believing I'm getting old, which is this thing you invented to try to subjugate innocence. Look how tired this body looks. Look how fat, saggy, wrinkled, with a dry skin. Listen to the voice. Look at the gaze, the posture, the saggy man tits. every line, every curve, every atom, every molecule, every thread, every wrinkle, every twinkle. 100% conscious decision by a child molesting asshole with consciousness to try to use lying